Rodney King, Michael Brown, Trayvon Martin, looking at where we are today in the weeks after the shooting of E.J. Bradford in Hoover, Alabama. It feels like nothing has changed in the way the police are policed. Many things have not. Juries acquitted police, cops got their jobs back, and brutality happened again. Some things have gotten worse. Police officers in the U.S. shoot and kill hundreds of people each year, far more than any other developed countries where police officers might go an entire year without killing more than a dozen people or even anyone at all. Tonight on 60 Minutes, we will have special interviews with Rodney King and Emanik Bradford Sr., the father of recently deceased Emanik Bradford Jr. Good evening. Welcome to the special edition of 60 Minutes. My name is George, and tonight we will be interviewing two people, Rodney King and Emanik Bradford Sr. First up, Rodney King. Can you please explain to us what happened on March 3rd, 1991, and why do you think that it happened to you specifically?
Well, I was pulled over for speeding and I was asked to exit my vehicle. The next thing I know, I'm on the ground getting beat up by 4 police officers while other people were watching and not doing anything to help me. I was almost beaten to death. I was blind in my right eye for over a week after the incident had happened. There was no reason to beat me senselessly. I was alone and there were more than 8 officers surrounding me. It definitely had to do with something with my skin color.
I'm sorry that happened to you. What was going through your mind when all of this was happening?
I was thinking that as long as I made it to a place where people could see what was going to happen, then it would be better, where people could witness the beating that I knew was coming. It paid off in a big way. I made it to some nearby apartments and there were multiple eyewitnesses and someone even reported it. Because of the video, justice was achieved.
How did the beating impact the way you lived out the rest of your life?
After the beating, I turned into a heavy drinker, just like my father. I couldn't find a better way to cope with all the attention I was getting from something I wanted to forget. I felt guilty about the LA riots. I never wanted them to happen. What happened to me affected how other African Americans like me perceive the police force.
I'm really sorry that happened to you and that you're feeling guilty. Do you think that the incident would have been different if it happened today?
Honestly, the situation probably would have been the same because if it wasn't for what happened to me, society wouldn't be as aware as they are now. The body cameras policemen wear now are because of cases similar to mine. If no one ever reported what happened to me, there'd be more police brutality occurring and more police would get away with it.
I never thought of it that way. That's a really great point. How did you feel about the lack of punishment for the officers after the trial in 1992?
I was very outraged and disappointed in our justice system. The fact that there was a video of me getting beat up by the police officers and they weren't charged with anything is just really baffling to me.
Yeah, that doesn't make much sense to me either. Sorry. Are you satisfied with the decision of the second trial, which happened nearly a year later after the first one?
The only thing that I was thinking during that trial was that I hope we get one. Just one, and I'll be happy. 2 officers were acquitted and 2 sentenced to 30 months in prison. I was very happy with that result. I figured that the first trial didn't go too well, so the best we could hope for this time was that at the very least, one of them was found guilty. My attorney, on the other hand, said that we only got half justice and wasn't happy with the outcome of the trial.
People, I just want to say, can we all get along? Can we get along? You said this, and it is probably your most famous quote. Can you elaborate what you meant by this?
I never asked for the riots. I wanted the people of Los Angeles to stop fighting and looting. The black community was enraged. I saw innocent men being beat up because they're white, even though they had nothing to do with my case. I would never wish happened to me upon my worst enemies. How do you solve violence with violence?
That is a very good question. How do you solve violence with violence? All right, thanks for showing up to the show.
Thanks for having me and giving me the opportunity to tell my story to the world.
Of course. After the break, we will be interviewing Emanik Bradford Sr., so stay tuned.
Don't forget to attend this 10th and 11th grade Chipotle Showcase Night, Monday, December 17th.
The only thing wrong with Chipotle is that it gives you
Dysentery, diarrhea, flat on your backs, unable to move. To avoid this, Cheerios, fibrous.
Good day, Mr. Lopez.
Welcome back to the special edition of 60 Minutes. Up next, we will be interviewing Emanik Bradford Sr. Can you please explain to us what happened this year on Thanksgiving?
This year on Thanksgiving, my son EJ was shot and killed in the Galleria Mall. He was mistaken for a man that fired shots in the mall. Many of the people there said my son were trying to help them and to get them to safety. He pulled his concealed weapon, which he had a license for, out to help defend himself and his peers. But soon after, the cops pulled up and they shot him 3 times in the back of the head.
I'm really sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
So, your son, with no criminal record and with a military background, was shot and killed. Do you think that this was a hate crime?
Yes, I do. I definitely think the circumstances would have been different if my son was a white man. For sure. I don't think that they would be as quick to pull the trigger or even think about shooting if he was white.
You're right on that one, Chief. What have the police told you about the incident?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing at all. It's been over a week and they still have yet to contact us.
I can't imagine how you guys must be feeling right now.
It's very disappointing. Like, this is their job to do this, but they can't even respond to us.
Sorry. So, being law enforcement, have you asked for the videotapes or asked any of your friends within the precinct what's going on?
No. I think that they would have enough respect for my family, myself, and my son. That is not protocol for you to leave families in the dark like that. For you to kill my son and not even answer our phone calls is just disrespectful.
How have you guys been able to handle all of this?
I've personally taken it pretty hard. I've been struggling with cancer and now I have to bury my son. I'll never get to hear him call me dad again. I've been keeping myself busy with this unjust, but April has been taking it the hardest. She even passed out at the vigil last night.
How will this change your view on police brutality and just life in general?
Now that I know what it is like personally, I feel extremely sad for all the victims in the past that have been beaten or even killed. Now, don't get me wrong, I always felt bad for the victims, but now I have a different level of understanding. I miss EJ. I regret everything that I couldn't tell him before.
I'm sure that he understands. In an interview with the Associated Press, April stated that the situation would have been different if your son was white. Do you agree with this statement?
I definitely agree, 1,000%. If my son was white, there's no way that they were shooting him 3 times in the head. It's just not happening. I saw something online the other day that said per 1 million, African American and Hispanics combined have about 10 people killed by police, while white people had an average of 2.9. That is just crazy to me. We cannot continue to live like this.
Wow, I'm sorry. I did not know that. That's actually crazy. All right, well, that's all the time we have for today. Give a round of applause for Manic Bradford Sr.
Okay.
Next time on 60 Minutes. Police kill more than 300 Black Americans, at least a quarter of them unarmed, each year in the USA. These events might have spillover effects on the mental health of people not directly affected. The observed adverse mental health spillover effects of the police killings of unarmed Black Americans could result from heightened perceptions of threat and vulnerability, lack of fairness, lower social status, lower beliefs about one's own worth, activation of prior traumas, and identification with the deceased.
What have the police told you about the incident?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing at all. I have to bury my son. I will never hear him call me daddy again. Can't say it. Can't say it.
I imagine what you guys must be feeling.
That was you, big
What are you
man.
talking
That
about?
was
You laughed
I
like
started laughing because of you.
What are you? That was the one. Hey.